In 1970, Porsche celebrated an impressive double victory. Porsche won the 24 Hours of Le Mans for the first time with a 917. At the same time, one of the most legendary racing movies in history was filmed. Its title, Le Mans. It was a Ferrari restorer, Uwe Meisner, who finally tracked down the legendary Porsche 917 from the movie. The mythic vehicle vanished for more than 30 years as connoisseurs searched in vain. The movie star car was stowed away and left to age like a vintage bottle of wine in a shed in the French countryside, with 600 horsepower beneath its hood and an ignition key that brings back memories of the glorious past. The initials HL stand for legendary driver Herbert Linge.
That's the
only good thing about this story, he says. The car disappeared for more than 30 years. As a result, the car was untouched. That means it's still the original, the same as it was when it was put into the shed. 30 years later, it's still in a pristine state. This is by far the most original 917 in the world. Since the Porsche was discovered, scientists at the Technical University at Aachen have been busy trying to restore one of its most original parts, the tubular steel frame. The unknown owner wants the car that was once the fastest in its time restored to its former glory as a racing vehicle. The strategy is to maintain every gram of material, every millimeter of the original car without overlooking cracks, embeddings, or corrosion. What's special about the frame, he comments, is that it cools the engine as oil flows through the tubes. That was a very special characteristic back in those days. Weight reduction is everything. At just 800 kilograms, the 917 is a high-performance masterpiece. Material is examined under the electron scanning microscope. A mere scratch suffices in producing reliable data without any damage to the frame. This is how the age of the copper and zinc aluminum alloy is tested. This is a weak spot. The images show grains breaking off, a sign that the metal is porous. Former drivers rave that the 917 seems to lift off at top speed.
Rennen heißt für uns.
In the movie, the car competes for top billing with a Hollywood icon.
Zwischen den Rennen liegt, heißt warten.
Actor Steve McQueen was a passionate race driver himself. But in the film Le Mans, Porsche factory driver Herbert Linge stood in as his stuntman. I ended up driving the car, he explains. Steve McQueen wanted to do it himself but couldn't get permission from the insurance company. They refused to let him drive in the race. He then asked me if I would take over for it. 36 years later, the magnesium rims of the 917 are carefully checked at the radiology department in order to make the restored car look brand new. The CT scans the ultralight rim layer by layer. Sure enough, they've discovered a problem. Engineers examine whether the defect is acceptable or if the magnesium rim has to be rebuilt. There are hardly any original parts around to buy. The experts believe any defect could result in a cracked rim, a potentially fatal flaw. Not only in the movies.